This is Harlem, a place almost everybody has heard of, but where most outsiders have never been. Every urban problem that plagues this country is represented here, and you can find it all within a few blocks of this rooftop. Broken families, rampant street crime, the worst housing this side of Calcutta, alcoholism, street gangs, and the worst plague of all, drug addiction. At first, this segment was intended simply as an investigation of the heroin epidemic. The poppies are growing again in Turkey, and I wanted to see if the Turkish main line had been reconnected. But Harlem, even the pits of Harlem, is a story so much larger than just junk and junkies. As James Baldwin once said, walk down any street in Harlem and see what we, this nation, have become. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going on the block. This is Harlem. Welcome to America's backyard.
Yes, this is the game.
The Renegades, when Roy Rosa, their president, and Rolando Gonzalez, the vice president, finally figured out that they were all running nowhere at full speed ahead. They met a building contractor, a tough ex-Marine named Tom Fascolas. Tom convinced the city government to turn over one of the hundreds of abandoned buildings in East Harlem to the gang, and now they're rehabilitating the building and their own lives.
The Renegades were first into drugs, from drugs into a big mass riot, revolution as they would say. They started off with gun shooting, knife fights, antenna fights, chain fights. Everybody was out to get everybody else. You know, one gang to another gang, you know, mess them up, that's it, you know. They're no good, they're our enemy. Beat them up, take their colors, and destroy everything that they can see in their way. If it's something that was in their path, knock it down. They don't care what it was.
What kind of stuff are you into now?
We're rehabilitating a building over here on 119th Street and 2nd Avenue. And before that, we had built 2 parks in 118th Street between 2nd and 3rd. And ever since, that's what we've been doing.
Rehabilitating not only the building, but yourself.
The building, ourselves, the community, the people around us, the people that live in these slums. We're trying to help everybody.
Tom, how'd the project get started?
Project gets started because a group of people referred to as the Renegades of Harlem, Youth Gang for the People, decided to begin to rebuild their own community and have been doing so for the last 3.5 years.
Do you see what the Renegades have done with this building as a model for other street gangs in other neighborhoods and other cities?
Absolutely. You know, the street gang, the word gang is a very funny word. And if you look at what Webster has to say, it basically says a group of people working together. Now, it's unfortunate in our society, we've been taught that a gang is a destructive force. The Renegades have proven otherwise.
At night, to walk down certain streets in Harlem is not merely frightening, it's totally reckless. On 8th Avenue, on a winter night like this one, the only people hanging out are either the sharks looking for something to score or the people invulnerable to attack because they have nothing left to lose. Except for the prostitutes or the hopelessly addicted, most of the women are inside. So are the children. They're a whole other story that I can just show you an example of. Unfortunately, the example is typical. With a community worker named Nelson Dawes, I visited a desperately poor Puerto Rican family in East Harlem. To see the apartment they live in, you can appreciate how laughable are expressions like the war on poverty.
There are 8 kids in the family, ranging in ages from 19 to 4 years of age.
Now, I understand that there is no father, and the mother didn't want to be on camera because she's embarrassed about all this.
Yes, that's correct. This is a one-parent household, which is usually the norm for people living in this community.
How do they make it? Why do they have to live this way? Maybe that question is rhetorical. Maybe it doesn't have an answer. I don't know. But, I mean, in your experience, what's happening here?
Well, I think what's happening is that the services that are supposed to be available for families like this is non-existent. Given all of the rhetoric of the war on poverty and the dismemberment of OREO, which was supposed to assist social programs, that has never come down to this level. As far as any upgrade in the quality of their life, given the 10 years that have gone by, nothing has really happened. I mean,
what's your name?
Raymond.
How old are you, Raymond?
9.
9 years old?
Yes.
Are you in school?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
2nd.
What's his name? That's the best interview I ever did. Children are the only hope in the life of this neighborhood. This man is death. He's the dope dealer, and he operates unchecked and unafraid despite a new law that provides a mandatory life sentence for heroin pushers. What do you deal?
Anything I can deal. Anything I can get some money from. I'm a hustler. If the money is right, I'm right.
How much can you make dealing heroin every week?
$5,000.
How much do you need to support your own habit?
I don't have a habit.
You mean you don't have a habit and you're still dealing heroin?
That's where the money's at.
Don't you feel bad about that?
I don't feel bad. Know why?
Why?
Because, you see, I knew that it's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, and society as we know it now is to get money. Any way you can get it. The more money, if you got enough money, ain't no limit to the things you can do. On the other hand, if you don't have any money, you can't do nothing.
Well, how many people get hurt by you doing that? How many people just get strung out on dope by your dealing?
That's their problem. That's their problem.
2 or 3 years ago, federal officials estimated that there were 500,000 heroin addicts in the United States. Half of them lived in New York City and half of those lived in Harlem. Since then, some of the heroin flow into this country from the Mediterranean has been stopped, and the number of junkies has dropped by at least a third. Thousands of others have been enrolled in government-sponsored methadone clinics, substituting one addiction for another, slightly less harmful, slightly less antisocial. But on the street corners and alleyways of Harlem, heroin is still king. There are clusters of men and women waiting around to score. This is the block. This is nowhere. How much are you using now every day?
Now would run me every bit of about $40 to $70, $40 to $75 actually.
Now, where do you get that bread?
Whatever way I can, actually.
And where is that? Now, tell me, to be straight with me now.
Now that's all like as far as like just hustling, really.
Well,
You know-
you rip off people too? Now, you got to tell me straight.
Yeah, well, like, hey, if I have to.
Let me see your arms. Let me see where you're shooting at.
What you want? Put this up there.
Now, you've been using this for 8 years, the same arm here?
No, I've been using both of them, but this one is a brand new one. You know, that I just started back with.
Let me ask you something. Don't you think you're killing yourself?
Well, I can tell you that, right, truthfully, yeah.
How many years you been using now?
Like 22 years right now.
22 years you've been
Like
using?
22 years,
How old are you now?
I'm 35 now.
Where you getting your junk now?
I get it anywhere I can, uptown, downtown, you know, or I even go to Jersey sometime.
Where's the dope coming from now?
Right now, like, I don't know where, like, it coming from, but, like, I just get it from whoever got it.
And how do you get the bread to get it?
I do a little of everything. I might even raw, I might do burglary and everything like that, you know.
Have you ever been in jail?
Oh, many a time.
How many times?
I can't even count them, but so many.
Don't you think you're on a one-way street, brother?
Matter of fact, I know I'm on a one-way street, but like, I can't do no better.
Let's see where you're shooting at. Sure, that's an old scar. Look at that. Now, how do you feel about this, man? Let me ask you.
Let me tell you something. Every time I look at it, it hurt my feelings. You understand? I feel like less than a man when I look at it.
But what about your family?
That's why that's how I feel less than a man. No, I know how my people feel.
Well, when did you start using heroin?
When I was 20 years old. I'm 30 now.
Do you have any children?
Yes, 2. A boy, 4 years old, and a girl, 7.
Were they born addicted?
Well, my daughter was born addicted to heroin, and my son was born addicted to methadone.
Well, how did that make you feel as a mother?
Lousy.
But, I mean, couldn't you do something about it?
What can you do? You know, that stuff seems to have you overpowered some kind of way, and even those that are really love more than it is, you know, heroin and stuff, it just can't seem to do nothing about it.
How did you get hooked?
Well, some fella I met in the Bronx. I was going out with him, and he was using drugs. I didn't know it at the time, and he just offered it to me, and I took it like a fool. And then after that, I just continued using it. I liked it. Then when I got addicted to it, I needed it.
How much are you using now every day?
About 2 quarters.
How much is 2 quarters?
About $150 now, about anywhere from 55 to 60 a quarter.
Now, that's an awful lot of money. Some people don't get paid that much money in a whole week. Where are you getting it from?
Yeah, well, I boost. Boosting is stealing, in, layman's terms, weighing like,
Who do you steal from?
Hey, anywhere and everywhere. Like I say, I'm a thief.
But what was the last time you stole?
I'm saying, the last time I stole was day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday?
Yeah.
What was it?
Meats.
Who'd you steal it from?
From department stores, supermarkets.
From the alcoholic businessman to his pill-popping suburban housewife, there are drug addicts at every level of American society. But only the poor suffer it so desperately with lives so hopeless. To get the money he needs to buy his drugs, a heroin dope fiend will sell anything he can get his hands on. Anything that has a resale value on the street. Anything from a stolen TV set to his own girlfriend.
Your girlfriend here is a prostitute and she turns the money over to you.
Yes, well, yeah, right, you could say that.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't like it at all, but it's the only way I could do it right now. My clothes is not correct as far as a job, a legal job, and I'm getting over out here.
You mean you're making money here?
Yeah, except for the cops, when the cops are out here.
How many times have you been arrested?
Twice.
Well, how do you feel, like having to sell yourself so he can buy drugs?
Well, I use it too, and even if I wasn't, I know that if things were reversed, he'd do the same thing for me. We've been together a while, and we started off, he was working, taking care of me, and I know that if it was reversed, he'd look out for me.
How long you been together?
We've been together now a little over a year.
Are you in love with each other?
Why not? Of course, the feeling is there, something must be there,
Almost half the population of Harlem is under 20 years old, and most kids between 16 and 20 are out of school, and most of those are out of work. Because they have not much else to do and no place else to belong, they've organized themselves into street gangs. Gangs which bear no resemblance at all to the Hollywooded, tinseled version that you saw in the movie West Side Story. With names that would be comically preposterous under any other circumstances, names like the Spanish Kings or the Savage Samurai, there are 269 street gangs in this city. 36 of them are in Harlem. Ask the folks in the neighborhood about them and you'll get 2 stories. To some, they're the new vigilantes, scouring the streets, preying on the dope dealers that prey on the people. To others, the gangs are just so many more muggers, thieves, and bullies, ruling neighborhood territories like feudal warlords, only adding to the problems of the block. Refuge from this harsh life on the street is often found on the rooftops, and here a boy nicknamed Slick gets away from it all by presiding over a coop of 16 pigeons.
How long have you been flying your birds, Slick?
Been flying about 5 years.
How does it make you feel when you see your birds up there?
Makes me feel good.
How come?
To know that I could train them, because at first when I was starting to train them, I used to lose the birds.
And now?
Now I could train them. Now I know how to teach them. They always stay here. They never go nowhere. They always stay in their home. They don't go no other place.
How do you feel looking down on Harlem instead of being on the streets?
I don't know. It's better to be on the roof because on the street is too much trouble. Too many things going on in the street.
We can't sit around in a world turned upside down, but stand united. But stand united.
Hear me?
But stand united. But stand.
When good is bad, happy is sad, great is wicked and smart is stupid and black is ugly and love is murky and who we are is what we have. Treat we like children of a lesser God. Some of us were divided along racial lines and police crimes and brutal times and let's talk the truth, oh yeah, to all of the youths, yeah. Stand up. Stand united. united against race and discrimination, police brutality, frustration, disparity between the rich and the poor, hatred and bigotry, all unpure, unjust laws by the Democrats who are unjust, feel within themselves their own us.
Stand up, stand united, they excited us, invited us, and divided us. Midas rough on the Midas touch. That it hyped us up. Boy, I ain't hype enough. I want the smoke and all that type of stuff. Man, I hype us up. Real talk, hold up to stop. Party to stop. Hold up to stop. Rock, rock. Watch out, somebody got what it feel like. This can't be real life. We'll wait until night. Stand.
3-piece with my threes on.